Hi there, gamers. My name is Lucy from Game, and I am here with
Randy Varnell from Gearbox.
Woohoo! Today we are going to be talking about all things Battleborn. So, Randy, how would you describe Battleborn in 3 words?
In 3 words, amazing action shooter.
Amazing action shooter. For any gamers out there who doesn't know what on earth Battleborn is, how would you kind of sum it up? What would you liken the game kind of to?
Sure, it's a first-person shooter with a huge variety of really awesome kind of characters in a sci-fi universe. It's got a story mission campaign, so if you played some Borderlands, another big Gearbox game for us, you're going to see some great humor and story and stories of the last star at the end of the universe. And we also feature a really cool competitive multiplayer, 5v5 multiplayer, 3 different modes. A lot of ways to play the 25 playable characters that we have in Battleborn.
Wow, that sounds amazing. You mentioned 25 playable characters. That is
Yes.
a big roster. So personally, what's your favorite character?
Oh, people always ask me this, and it's like asking me to choose between my children. I like you better, but sorry, no college for you. Goodness, I think if I had to pick out of the ones so you looked at 15 today of the 25. We haven't announced the back 10, and if I had to be honest, my favorite is probably one that we haven't announced yet. So stay tuned for that. But out of the 15 we have today, there are a couple that I really, really like. Caldarius, kind of the Gundam influence, jetpack space marine.
Yeah.
Just a really good hit and run, mix it up character. He's one of my favorite to play, and I'm going to add one more because I never can pick. It really is kind of a mood thing with me, but Randy the Chaos Witch. I don't know if you had a chance to play with her. She's a 4-armed kind of magic slinging character, and you actually see the arms in the first person model when you're running through. She's really cool, kind of chaos magics, do these big explosive shadow pillars. Really fun kind of in and out, really aggressive damage dealer.
Awesome, sounds wicked. So you did mention that Battleborn is a first-person shooter.
Sure.
Now, this has been thrown around all the time. Development companies bring up first-person shooters all the time. What makes Battleborn kind of different as a first-person shooter?
Well, we talked about earlier, kind of when I was giving you guys the presentation, shooter is such a weird word. It comes back from, when we played Doom and Quake and all those games that it was all about guns. Battleborn has a lot more than just guns. We certainly have a player with Oscar Mike has an assault rifle, Montana has a big minigun. But you branch out from there. I think in the build you looked at today, you've got Wrath, who has dual blades, Phoebe, who's kind of a cool fencer, Boulder, who's a dwarf with an axe and a shield. So I don't know, is it a first-person smacker, shooter, beat? I don't know what word you use to describe it, but that's why I say first-person action game. The really great action play with characters, a lot of variety in that. But it's really more than that. I mean, you have these great RPG elements in the Battleborn, and that you grow your characters both in match. Every time you play a match, you start at level 1 and grow up to 10, and it lets you kind of find different ways to play with different builds of characters, or different ways to play, to change up the abilities, to try different things. Almost every player gets to be like a little mini game designer. You get to play with tweaking the characters in certain ways and seeing how that feels. You can find the right build for you, but certainly a lot of long play. You can rank up your characters out of match. If you play one character really deeply, you can level them up. You can get character ranks 1 to 15 out of match, and that's going to unlock different gameplay things. We call them mutations. We'll talk more about that later. And some different cosmetics, so you can get different skins and different taunts for your characters to really make a character your own.
Cool, wicked. So you did mention mutations. Could you tell us a little bit more about mutations?
So one of the tricks of Battleborn, every time you level up, we have this great system that we call the Helix system. So every level in match that you play, you have 2 choices per level, and you get to spend a Helix point on picking one ability over the other to tune ability the way you want to play. So as you rank up a character out of match, you're going to unlock 5 mutations for each character. What that actually does is add a 3rd choice to the 2-choice Helix option. So 5 different levels on a Battleborn's Helix will have a 3rd option that will appear right there in the middle. And it gives you the way to really diversify how you build out a character, and different options for tuning the gameplay even more.
Sweet, that sounds awesome. So Battleborn is very kind of, you play with your friends, you play split screen co-op, it's very multiplayer heavy, but how does the single campaign kind of hold up, do you think?
I think it holds up really well. I mean, it's very important. I know a lot of people who want to play. You either don't have time or don't want to take time. Some people are really shy about playing with other players. Totally get it. And so we want to be sure that it holds up very well. And if you remember Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel, all of those games are created both single player up to 4-player co-op. So we have a lot of experience being sure that the single player experience is good while still being able to scale it up for 5 players. So it's very good. We actually scale the creatures and the enemies you fight dynamically, so they both have a little bit less health and there are fewer of them. So as a single player, whether you're even playing like Miko, our healer, or a support character, or someone is like melee damage like Wrath, the experience is going to be different, we hope, every time. There's reasons to come back and try the game as different Battleborn and different characters, but it should balance itself so that you have a good experience regardless of which Battleborn you pick and how many players you bring to the match with you.
Cool. Awesome. I really love music in a game, so I say that music maketh the game. How is the soundtrack in Battleborn?
It's good. We're working with a set of composers right now to really come up with a unique theme. What's cool about Battleborn is you look at the fiction of the universe. The characters are grouped into 5 different factions, and each faction has a different theme. Have like the Generate Empire, who Wrath and Caldarius are members of that, and they're imperial. They're almost like Sith-like, and they're dark and they're gothic and all of that. So when you get them, you're going to get kind of darker, ominous Imperial March type themes.
Yeah.
And then you look like that Last Light Consortium, the LLC, who are Marquis the robot and Phoebe, who has the great dress and the fencing swords. They're kind of, we call them steampunk Tron, And so when you get them, you get kind of this kind of grandiose music, but it's got a little bit of that Tron electronica in there as you play them. Then you've got the Eldred, who are kind of our nature fantasy type of characters. Thorn, the elven archer with a bow, Boulder the dwarf, and when you get that, you're going to get more fantastical themes in there. So, we think in themes and we think of big aspects of this universe, and certainly want to capture the spirit and mood of each of those. So, like when you select a different character and character select, the theme will morph into that factions theme, and you'll get those elements in the gameplay music. So, I think we're doing a good job. I think you're going to hear some really good stuff, and I think as much as the art with those different factions and different characters appeals to different people, and we're doing that same thing with the seriousness or the humor of the character, and also with the musical tone of the characters and the factions in the game.
Yeah, awesome. So, one question. Borderlands or Battleborn?
Well, right now I've got to say Battleborn. I mean, it's really, really exciting. I love Borderlands. If you look at what I've played in the past, hundreds of hours even after the game launched in Borderlands. I really, really liked it. But Battleborn let us really find some expression in characters that we didn't have. I mean, again, melee characters, full-on magical characters, some dwarves and elves and robots and all sorts of weird stuff that weren't quite right for the world of Pandora and Borderlands. And Battleborn is just kind of bigger and bolder in many ways, while retaining a lot of that same color and tone and humor that we like there. So right now it's Battleborn for me.
Cool, awesome. Well, I think that about sums it up. Thank you very much, Randy, for your interview today, and happy gaming, guys. Bye bye now.